Hey, this is Derica, your host on the Happiness Recipe Show 2.0, where top experts are sharing their personal stories of breaking through their own fears and resistance and into living their happy life and how you can do the same. As always, I'm super excited to speak with our top expert today, Amy Lee. Welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Derica. I am so excited to be here.
Yay, you guys, you are in for a treat. Always pen and pad, please have ready. I know there's gonna be magical nuggets dropped here, so be ready. And for those of you who have not met Amy before, I'm going to read her beautiful bio and then we're gonna jump into the juice of the show, okay? So Amy Lee is a dream design coach and mindset expert who works predominantly with sensitive and emotionally intelligent entrepreneurs. Through her signature programs and coaching, she has assisted in the transformation of thousands of business owners from anxious and unaware to empowered and abundant. Her unique law of attraction centric approach marries gratitude and personal value. She strives to leave her clients with an affinity for the finer things in life and a deep belief in their worthiness of those experiences. Oh, that's so beautiful.
That's why I wrote it myself.
Yeah. Just pour through, huh? Just naturally. I love that. Amy, go ahead, hon. Let's jump into you, your story, and what led you to be doing what it is you do today.
So, from the time I was a little girl, I always knew that I was different. When I was a little girl, my father explained to me what this Messiah was, and in my limited understanding at 7 years old, I thought maybe I could be him. I knew that I had a different way of understanding the world and interacting with it than most people. And I spent a lot of time alienated from my peers because I would talk about things that they didn't really understand. Not because I was better than them, but just because I was, I guess, on a different wavelength. I always had an idea about the way that the world was connected, right? Like the wholeness of it all. And this really kind of stood out in high school. My mom went to my parent-teacher conferences, and the sociology teacher told my mom, we need to talk about Amy Lee. And she's like, what is it? Are her grades bad? Is she like, what's going on? Why do you need to talk to me? And she's like, well, all the other kids are talking about what's for lunch and who's dating who. And Amy Lee's talking about gender apartheid in Afghanistan. And I'm just afraid that that's going to alienate her a little bit. And that's kind of been the trajectory of my life. And so, I always kind of had this sixth sense that because I was raised by a narcissist, I was never really encouraged to listen to. And so I kind of, pushed it down for a very long time. And it wasn't until I got married to the love of my life, built a beautiful life, that I started to really start to listen to that voice, kick that narcissistic parent to the curb. Sorry for those of you who don't believe in zero contact. It was a necessity. And really started to develop my spiritual gifts. And so that's kind of where I am today. I'm a dream design coach, so I help people figure out what they really want, what they truly desire, what their soul-aligned desire is, so that they can manifest it and build it and, of course, live it. And that's kind of everything about me in 30 seconds. So there you go.
Woo! Got it. I'm painting this picture of Amy Lee right now. I can feel the depth in that as well. So, and I have to appreciate what you said about kicking a parent to the side, because a lot will resonate and a lot won't, but everybody, there's no right or wrong here. It just is, and we follow our heart. And I always tell people, there's no rule book or mandatory ways of being when we're brought here, right? So we just have to follow our heart in that and do what's best for us, and no judgment. It's all good.
Absolutely. I love that you said that. Yes.
Wow. Oh, that's so good. So when you knew that you were very different from your peers, different from the surroundings, different from even the home life, right? There was something about you. You didn't want to talk about all the same stuff that everyone else was talking about. You didn't want to join in the same trends and fads and all that stuff, right? Oh, we can so relate to that. So at some point before you met your husband, right before because that was a big pivot point in your life, right? There was something that happened within you to manifest this new life and this man, right? All this goodness into your life. before that happened, was there specific things you could share with us, like certain fears or resistance that you suffered from, like your programming that you had back then that kept you from manifesting him sooner, or like manifesting this life sooner? Do you remember what those barriers were?
Yeah, so when I was in college is when The Secret, the movie, came out, and I actually worked at a bookstore where we sold hundreds of copies of them in a day. So I wanted nothing to do with it. And it wasn't until months later that I was cleaning the back of the business section that there was one. It was like that golden ticket in Willy Wonka, that one copy. And I was like, okay, this is meant to be. So I took it home and I watched it. And I did some of that manifesting. I manifested little things like concert tickets, my dream job, clothes, all these things. And I was dating a guy at the time, and I ended up actually marrying that guy. So that was the first half of my life. Very, very superficial, very, have the wedding shower and you have all the plates and you have all the things and living that bucolic domestic life. But that was never really what I wanted. And I started to get bored with it. And, he had his own things that he wanted to do. And so we ended up parting ways very, very, platonically. And then I kind of looked for myself in all the wrong men for the next couple of years after that happened. And then I ended up, well, what do I really want? What do I really want? What do I want in a relationship? And I used to go hang out with my best friend. We got divorced at the same time. She and I have been friends for almost 30 years now. And, or maybe more like 25. I don't want to misrepresent that. But anyway, we would get together on the weekends. I would drive down and I would hang out at her house. And I was hanging out at her house one weekend, and we were watching that Taylor Swift video, the one that the Mine, she says, I can see it now. And she's talking about this relationship with this man and, how you're the best thing that's ever been mine. And I was like, what would it be like if that was me? Like, what would that be like for me? Who would that person be in my life? And so I just started to build who this person was. And I was like, okay, well, they have a good relationship with their parents. And, they would be nice to me in front of their friends. They'd rather be with me than their friends. And I started just kind of going through this list of what this person would look like. And I would take my glasses off, right? Because you're at your best friend's house. There's no looking cute or anything. And I'd just rub my eyes and just say to myself, I can see it now. And that became my mantra. And even when I drove to work, I would say, I can see it now. I can see it now. And what will that feel like? And I'm going to be calling home, and he'll be like, I have dinner waiting. I'll see you soon. Or, him like putting his fingers on my knee while we're driving and just kind of smiling at me. And so I built this whole idea of what this ideal person would look like and be like and feel like in my life. And a couple months later, I was on a dating website, and I happened to look at, I really want to live in Savannah, Georgia. I'm from Boston. I really love Savannah. Why don't I just go see what the guys there are like? So I Googled the zip code, and I went on this dating website, and sure enough, there's this guy, and he is handsome as all get out. Yeah. And in his profile, it says, I have 5 kids and I love them. And if you have kids, I'll love them too. And I just thought that was so sweet. So I messaged him and I said, hey, I know that we don't have anything in common. We live so far away, but what you said was really sweet. And I just want to let you know. And it turns out that he was online. And so we started talking, and then we ended up making plans to meet. And long story short, I went and met him. I looked at him. He looked at me. It was love at first sight. And we've been together. It'll be 10 years in November. But yeah, Aww. He was my person.
Oh my goodness. I love that. That's very similar to my story too. So as you're talking, like my heart's like, oh my gosh, this is real. It's real. And I love how you brought it to what manifestation is all about, envisioning us actually becoming captains and creating our life going forward. And you just sort of dropped on us just magically the recipe of how to do that, how to be persistent in that and feel that and draw that up. And I love how you rubbed your eyes. That was so cute to actually see it, like in a fuzzy little picture of it. Like how awesome is that? That's so amazing. So you were sitting on the couch with her, and then like there's no coincidence, obviously synchronicity brought this breadcrumb to seeing this movie, and then it woke up in you, oh, maybe I can do this too. Do you remember before then, like were you like hitting any kind of brick wall into believing in your magic, or
I kind of have a little parable that I tell about this. I tell it terribly, but I wrote it myself. But basically, if you imagine that there's a child that's born, And I think you'll relate to this. In fact, it might take your breath away. But you imagine there's a child that's born and the family raises it, and it's like, kind of like Matilda, right? The book Matilda. And it's like, we had this kid, we'll feed it, we'll clothe it, whatever. But, and by the way, there's no mirrors in this house. This child never gets to see themselves. And then they grow up and they go to school and everybody's kind of mean to them. And they're kind and gentle and just a great person, still hasn't seen themselves. Then they go to work and they get this job and everybody's just kind of blah, right? And so they start saving money and they say, you know what, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to move somewhere else where the people are different because I just know that they're different. So they finally save up this money. They say goodbye to mom and dad. They leave the factory where they work. They take all their money. They go off in a plane. They touch down in another airport. They open the door and somebody just looks at them and they're like, is everything okay? And this person just looks at this person and says, how did you get that giant light to glow around you? And the person goes and looks in a mirror on the wall, and there is a giant energetic beam of magic coming out of this person, but nobody has ever acknowledged it. And that's what it was like for me growing up. Because when I got to a certain point in my life, people were like, Amy Lee, you're so incredible. Your ideas, your thoughts, you're such a light. But for a very long time, that light was not welcome. And being gaslit to the point where it's like, there's something wrong with you. You're dramatic. You're too crazy. You're too this. You're too that. And then finding out that it wasn't you. That you truly did bring that joy and that magic and that love, and people just didn't want you to know you had it because they were afraid of it.
Moment of silence.
I'm sorry. I didn't plan that.
No. That's always the best. It's as a mother and as someone who grew up with a very similar background, and I think a lot of us are right there with you in that never being told you are a brilliant baby girl or that you are special or perfect and that I love you. And there's many of us that don't get to experience that because our parents weren't taught that, or whatever the inheritance is. But not at some point realizing that you are special and that you are perfect and you are magical, and like realizing you went so much of your life not knowing how brilliant you actually are, and how much of your life you thought you were so weird or stupid or different or dumb, or all these things, these labels we get put on because a lot of people around us aren't taught this. They don't know how to say this. They don't know how to compliment. They don't know how to give this recognition or validation or love because they don't know how to love. And so we're all kind of like walk around like this, and I think my heart beat the most is because I thought of my little kids, and that's something I just like fairy tale them up. Every day I'm like, oh my goodness, you magical little thing. And I'm just like, let's fluff our beans. And every little kid I see and every person I see, and I think that's why you and I are in the work we're on, because you watching this, you are magical, you are powerful, you are brilliant, you are, oh my gosh, 1 in 8 billion, unique, perfection. Everything about you is so stunning. And like to hear that and to know that I think that's why the heart is just pounding right now.
But there's a good side too, because when you do become a parent, you don't realize it, but you inadvertently become a parent to yourself. And then you start turning on that nurturing, and you're inside of yourself loving you in a way that no one ever did. Because now you know what mothering is, and now you know what that nurturing is, and you're able to turn it on yourself. And watching my children, all 5 of them, watching them grow and learn and love and making sure that they know those things every single day, I heal that little girl. I know I do.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's through our creations, always believe, and I believe you do too, and a lot of us parents do, that we feel like we're here to teach them, but in actuality, it is so opposite. I feel like I learned so much, don't you? Like, we look at our kids, they're these mirrors of who we are, a reflection of ourselves, and we get to see and observe ourselves and heal the little inner child inside of us, like you were saying, in the eyes of our children, who are the like gurus walking around here, these pure, high vibrational, perfect little beings, and untainted yet. And I say yet. I don't know, that sounded awful, but you know what I mean? It's like, yes, I resonate with what you just said of we get to heal through our children. Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you for sharing all that and allowing us to go deep in that moment. I know you guys replay. There's probably a lot of different cognitions that are coming up, things we want to sit and reflect on a bit, take notes about. Just know, let the seeds be sown. There's nothing we need to do in this moment. Just be here. Amy, do you have any specific like breakthroughs that came to your mind, things that you did to realize your power, to realize your magic, and stand in your confidence and everything that you are? Can you share what some of those breakthrough moments or techniques that you did back then were?
Yeah, sure. One of the big ones was one day I was, married to my now husband when we first lived on the military post, and I was making the bed. And I remember just going, "Oh my gosh, Will, come here." And he goes, what's wrong? And I said, "I'm not the black sheep." And he goes, "What?" I'm like, "I'm not the black sheep. All of the people in my family that always made me feel like I was the bad guy, like, I'm actually a really good person. And I've been married to you for like almost 2 years, and you've never had a problem with me, and we've never had drama, and like no one in your side of the world and none of my new friends like have these problems that people had with me growing up. Like, maybe I'm a good person." And he's like, "Yeah, Amy Lee, you're a good person." So that was one. And then I read a book that my life coach recommended when we lived in Alaska called Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents.
Wow.
And seeing that so many of the things that I had dealt with in my childhood were reflections of situations between this kind of child and this kind of parent, and not Amy Lee did the wrong thing, or, she was bad, like, lifted so much weight off of me. It was like quantum healing like I've never had, because I was like, it was just another layer of that. And I think the most recent one that was really powerful was because I was raised by a narcissistic parent. I was always taught that anything that was in my best interest, if I had something to do with it, that it was an agenda, that it was some kind of ulterior motive. So I learned how to dissociate myself from the transformations my clients would make. And so I would lead them in, "Oh, it's fine. You would have done it anyway. The universe did it. It's all the universe." And guess what that did? That told the universe that I was like, "No, I don't need your abundance. I don't want to be associated with your magic," right? Like, "Oh, you hired me to do," yeah, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
And so once I started owning that magnetism and taking responsibility for, yes, I do want the good feelings of knowing that my client just changed their life. Yes, I do want those good feelings. Yes, I do want to sign my name on this project or on this masterpiece. My business went like, like everybody and their brother wanted to work with me. All soul aligned clients, no more narcissists, no more energy suckers. It was like zoned in, and I ended up having, a really powerful first quarter because of it.
Wow. I love that. And we're resonating with that because it's what we resist persists in our life. And even sometimes we don't know, unconsciously we're holding, anger or pain, to that thing. And because of that, it's limiting to us. We keep experiencing similar situations, or we keep just keeping ourselves at a certain frequency until we, like you had these pivot moments of just surrendering, whether we call it healing and just letting go and let universe or let God or let our love, like just let ourselves be in that moment and transform from that. Here comes all these new experiences, right? That match the new person that you are. So I love those awakening moments. I can't even tell you how many times I said I was a black sheep. And I really, really, because of that knowing, I was the black sheep everywhere I went. You know, it's like just stayed with me. It was just this bubble. I'm the black sheep everywhere I went. And it was just this outcast, very lonely, you know, role, because that just was my identity. That's where I just knew to be. But instead, and I feel like with you, it's like letting go of that, really that label. I had it, I experienced it, but I'm not it. We are all unique. We are all in this together. We are all, and then therefore, right? So, oh, that was so good. I love that from the book to the conversation with the husband. It's like these little breadcrumbs, you guys, where we just aha moments that come in from different things that are just so made for you in that moment. Sometimes it's the little things, you guys. Sometimes people are looking for these big, huge breakthrough moments that were just, I don't know, crazy adventurous or like very expensive or something. But it could just be a talk with the husband. It could just be, you know, so
Change of the sheets on the bed. Yep.
yes, yes, it can be stepping on a Lego in the middle of the night. Really, really could be an awakening moment. You know, oh my goodness, that's so good. Can you share with us, Amy? Because I know at this point you've helped so many souls. We love stories. We love hearing client testimonials. So is there someone that you could share with us where that person came in the depths of despair or wherever, and you were able to guide them into their happiness or just more fulfilled, happier, healthier life?
Oh my gosh, how to pick one. Yeah, like give me a second to think. Okay, I guess a really good one would be I had one client who was a nanny, and she had grown up in a very abusively religious home. Not that religion is abusive, but this home was. And the religion was kind of the catalyst for the abuse. So she was, you know, very much disillusioned by God and all those things. And she worked as a nanny. And she and I got on a call one day, and she said, you know, I feel really bad about this job. And I said, well, what's wrong? And she said, well, I just don't feel like they really like me. And I said, well, why do you think that? She said, well, I said, have they ever said they don't like you? No, they actually complimented me today. And I said, oh, well, what did they say? Well, they said that they were really grateful for me. Okay, and why did you think that that was a bad thing? Well, they said they were grateful, but I don't really think that I'm worth being grateful for. And so then what I had her do was look at all of the different things that make a person worthy of gratefulness, gratitude, right? So we listed a whole bunch of things. And then I made her look at the list. And I said, do you do this? Well, yeah. Do you do this? Yeah. And we went through like 12 different things. And at the end of the list, she looked at it and she had to admit that if she fell into this category of all these things, then she was worth being grateful for. And so just having that moment of unraveling it and letting her brain see those two lists side by side, she then had to let go of that limiting belief. And then all I had to do was mention that technique with any other word that she didn't feel like she identified with, and it would just release.
Yes. Oh, that is so good. And this is it's a great process. You know, there's program, reprogram, it's rewiring the mind, you know, releasing programs and such. And I think it's such a powerful technique for everyone's watching that. Sometimes we forget our worthiness. We forget we are good people. Sometimes we forget like how we're good, you know, we're honest, like we're great Samaritans, you know, we really try and do our best. And writing just a list of things that you do that you would consider good when looking at other people. Consciously seeing that is where the rewiring comes from, because subconsciously you know, but if we don't mirror that too, we can go like your client that was like, I'm just not worthy at all.
And never mind all the good works. Like what I eventually got her to realize is that she was worthy of abundance by virtue of existing. Just because she was born or just because she was conceived, because, you know, obviously, you know, children that don't make it out of the womb are also worthy of abundance. They're not. But if you look at your life from, you know, the moment you're born until the moment that you pass into wherever you go, that whole thing, like all of that by virtue of having that, you are meant to have that full of abundance and love and joy. Like there are hundreds of billions and billions of souls out there flying around, and only so many of them won the lottery to get a body on this planet. Why? Because every single one of us has a job to do, right? Like we signed a contract. Here's your skin suit. Okay, this is what you're going to do. And maybe we forgot it when we got here. And that's where dream design comes in, because people think, Derica, the dreams are some frivolous thing that you do when you have nothing else to do. But your dreams are your job. Your dreams are what you came here to accomplish. Your dreams are the work, the healing work that you swore to do when you said, I will come and take a spot, one of those coveted spots on that teaching planet called Earth.
Yes.
And so it is your responsibility to tap in to what that is and what that soul aligned desire is. Because here's the thing that you want to do in this world is the work the universe hired you to do. And so when you feel good, you're on the right track to do the right work. When you feel bad, it's the universe going, yeah, I know, dummy, so stop doing that and come back over here. And that's where time stands still. And that's where you feel like $1 billion. And that's where you have the easiest, effortless time doing the most impactful work. It's not an accident. It's literally how this earth experience was designed. And that is what I try to impart to people, is the dream design element, right? Like, yes, you need to go hone your craft. Yes, you need to go, of course, take care of your family, and of course, keep your lights on and all of that. But you enrolled in the course of what is it I am here to do? And you have to get to that work sooner than later.
Yes. Perfectly said. It's you have this dream, you have these goals. Why do you think you have this desire to be doer and have more, to have that, that cooking, I don't know, a restaurant or this Etsy business or like whatever it is, you're making jewelry, like I don't know, there's a billion different things on here. Why do you think you have the thought, you have the feeling? It's because it's yours. It's what you are meant to do and evolve and expand here. Then what happens is that we have these limiting programs. We have these beliefs like that I'm not worthy, I can't do it, I'm too afraid, I won't make it, I'm stupid, these things. Those things are what Amy Lee is saying, step into. Don't resist it. Surrender to it. Just saying it's there. But if you try the techniques of writing the list, you acknowledge them, you forgive them, you love them. But it doesn't mean you stop there. And I know you know this because you're here.
And even hypnotherapy, like even just being able to access your subconscious mind, just bypassing those initial thoughts and being able to get into where the real you is, right? Bypassing the ego and the protective personality that's trying to keep you safe, and getting into that inner sanctum where the true soul hangs out, and being able to access that higher self. And that's really what hypnosis does, is it allows you to access your higher self without the alarm going off of that ego in the foreground.
Well said, girl. Yes, she's speaking my language. It's absolutely true. It's getting to those things where we inherited from our parents, from epigenetics, from the past, these different things that we take in and embody. But we weren't afraid of them. We signed this contract. I love that. We didn't say, oh, I'm going to get hung up on lack of self-esteem. Like, no. We knew that we came here to break the paradigm that our mother and father and those before them could not break. And we're here to be that greater, higher generation, right? So it's breaking through those things. And it doesn't have to be this extenuous, like hard process. It can be subtle and still very powerful of breaking those chains.
And accessing that God consciousness inside of us, because I believe that whatever we were, I am was, started out as one entity and then decided that it wanted to have the experience of coming back together. Well, you can't come back together if you're not in a million pieces. So it fragmented itself into all the pixels of the universe between man, woman, child, rhino, panda, fish, what have you, chair, rock, whatever. Everything shattered into a million pieces. And guess what? This is the crazy part. It's already back together. It's a continuum. It's already whole. But we are having a human experience walking through the molasses of life with the understanding that it's happening in real time. But we are already back part of that whole.
Yeah. I feel it. And I know you guys are resonating there because this is that drive inside of us. This is that part that we just, even though we hit rock bottom, we can't give up. There's just something deep inside of us like, no, like this little cheerleader that keeps going, sign up for this, be here, hear this, so that's that part where we know is whole. And we know that we did come here for that journey, for that unfolding, that fun, that it doesn't have to be this hard. And we're learning that along the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're learning that abundance is meant to be the normal with occasional rainstorms, as opposed to the way that the generations before thought that it's rainstorms and occasionally there's there's sunshine. But we're realizing now that abundance is our birthright, and that's how we were meant to move through the world. And there's nothing icky or selfish or, greedy about it, right? It's like we were meant to be abundant so we can take that abundance and heal the world and bring it back. Again, we already did, but we're having the illusion that we're doing it in real time. And everything that happens, every single thing that happens, it's all for good. It's all walking us back home. So when you think of it from that perspective, it behooves you to get going on whatever it is that dream you have is. And maybe you don't even know what it is yet. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people are just so overcome with decision fatigue that they don't even know what they want for dinner. In fact, men make fun of women all the time, right? She doesn't know what she wants to eat. Ha ha ha. Well, she also knows where your laundry is. She knows where all your socks are. She knows where every kid's uniform is. She knows all these other things, where the important documents are. She knows how to get everybody out of the house. Heaven forbid there's a fire. So you're right. She doesn't know where to eat for dinner. But thank goodness you have her.
Yeah. Get it out, girl. I'm loving it. But yes.
And my husband doesn't even say that. That's like a colloquialism. My husband's
a societal thing. Yeah.
Exactly. Because he's the stay-at-home dad. But yeah. I'm sticking up for my mama friends that are feeling that one.
And we feel yes, it is decision overload. So sometimes I believe we go back and forth of like, what is our purpose? Oh, if I only knew what my purpose was, I would, and that seems to be what rips a lot of happiness from folks, is because they feel they're still searching for their purpose instead of surrendering that you are the purpose, and that where you are is your purpose. And then you get to decide what you're creating as your dreams. And that changes. So I really, really just resonate with what you're saying.
You, whenever you interview me, you never know what you're going to get. Source might pop in and say a couple of things. You might get some crazy, dirty Amy Lee laundry from, 25 years ago. It's a mixed bag here in Amy Lee land.
It's beautiful because it's the human experience. This is all of us. You guys, there's all of us. And part human, part spirit, part fragments of everything. I love how you put that in there. This is a wild, beautiful mess. And I also love how you said, and by the way, so there's some of us that are stuck in like what you said about most of it, say 90% is messy, hard, and then like 10% abundant or joyous. And abundant, we mean of all good things. I remember being there, and I remember hearing that, no, let's go about 90% of abundance, of all the good things, having fun, enjoying life, and 10% being contrast. And I was like, what? Is that possible? Like, that was such a foreign, like, it boggled my brain. I was like, bleh, like just fried myself because I could not, that didn't make sense up there in the wiring. So depending on if you're there, if you're in the middle, if you're somewhere in between, or you're sitting in the 90 right now and you're just sharpening your axe, that's great too. But I truly can stand here today, and Amy Lee can too, that it is more of the experience of the 90 of being abundant, and the 10 just experiencing the duality, which is a part of it too. So you can, sell it. You definitely can. Going to the next question, hon. Speaking to, I know as you're saying, sometimes source will come out. We're these channelers of infinite wisdom, and as we open, things just come out. Are you feeling right now, speak to that person that is watching us, that would love to embody the 90 abundant and the 10% whatever, but they maybe are blocked by some resistance, and I don't know what that resistance looks like, but if you were there right now and you can speak into their soul, what would you say?
What would it look like if it wasn't? What would it look like if that resistance wasn't there? Let's say the resistance isn't there. It is, but let's just presuppose for a moment that it isn't. What does that look like?
That's good. Sit with that, yeah. Imagine, play with that a bit, huh?
Because we tend to, what if the bad? But there's nothing that says what if the good isn't just as likely. For example, in the 1950s or something, they had a thing where the roulette at the casino, and it kept coming up black. So people started betting on red. And it ended up coming up black like 60 something times because people were of the mindset that it has to be red, but it's 50% every time. So when did we decide that the bad was so much more likely than the good? Like, where did that even come from? I mean, I know where it came from, but that's a story for another day. But why do we go there when it's just as easy to go over here? So that's my question, is to bypass. Great, I get it. That yes, that limiting thing is there, but what if it wasn't? What would be different?
Yeah. What ifing on the positive? What ifing on the goodness? Because we're so, whether that's the protector survival thing that's innate in us that goes, what if the bad happens? But switching that, having that awareness to just pivot, play with it in this moment. I love it. You're such the dreamer. Play with it in the moment and really say, what if this is life? What if this is what life's really supposed to be like? And what would it look like, taste like, feel like? Okay, guys, we challenge you. Challenge you to write that up. Oh, okay. So keep that in mind, you guys, because that's going to segue into what she's giving away a little later. Before we go into that beautiful gift that you're giving, a happy hack. Is there something that Amy Lee does that you can share with us all? Because we're just filling our pocket with tools here. A happy hack that you do whenever you're pulled out of alignment, whenever you're having a duality moment. What is something that you do that just brings you back in?
Inversions. I will go and I will lay on my bed and I will listen to my favorite hypnosis, and I will stick my feet on my headboard above my head, and I will just zone out for like a good 20 minutes and allow that energy to shift and just let it all flow out. And when I stand up, I feel like I slept for 8 hours and I feel like $1 million.
Oh my goodness. I have not heard that one yet on the show, and I'm right there with you. First you said hypnosis, you got me. But the inversion, I have an inversion table at home. My husband and I will jump on it occasionally. We'll like literally go all the way back where your head is like at the feet. And that there's so much energetic healing in that. You actually uncompress your spine and you allow energy to flow through and balance your body. But you can do that in your bed. You can do that in a chair. You could do that somewhere, anywhere safe, where you can just put the feet up and allow energy to flow through a different way, maybe unclog whatever cloggage you got or dis-ease you got running through your body. And you're allowing actually the subconscious piece to come into. You put it in hypnosis, which is a brilliant thing. But it could be an intention of your own self, a self-guided hypnosis or a meditation or something like that. But the combo is magnificent. Ooh, I'm gonna try that. That is super good. Super good inversion, y'all. Flip those feet up. Okay, now, Amy, can you get into this beautiful gift that you're giving away? Tell us more about it. What are they getting at the link below?
Yeah, so it's called the Dream Design Archetype Assessment. I invented it myself. It's probably one of the funner little freebies that you're going to do in the world, if I may say so. But what you're going to do is you're going to look at the 4 different scripts that I provide, and each one of them kind of has a feel and what is it, a mouth feel? And so you're going to jump into that and see which one resonates the most. And then when you find the script that resonates the most, you find after those pages, there'll be some pages where you find the one that you like. And then there are some action items that you can follow that will help you move into alignment with that ideal identity.
Whoa. Wow. I love it. I kind of want to comb through that already. Okay, I'll leave that. I'll let the magic take on that. You guys have to get it. What she just said was gold. Just trust me with this. Trust me that you're gonna land on what you need on that paper and find that next little breadcrumb of what it is you're calling into your life. So please do get it. Connect with Amy. Her Instagram, her social media is just, it's so full of heart and love and laughter. I love it. I love it. I'm addicted to it. So you guys jump on that too and follow her. Thank you, first, Amy, for your time.
Absolutely.
Your energy, your intention, I can feel it. I just love you to pieces. Thank you for being
Oh,
here.
Steve.
Thank you. And then you guys, thank you. Another episode, transformational episode. You're here. May your energy and you never be the same in all the most beautiful ways. So thank you for your time, and we'll see you on the next episode. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon.